I'm going to start working on the diagonals, working with withdrawing cuts. In other words, I'm not smashing my way through. This is more surgical, even though it's a large blade. I am trying to cut as I withdraw the blade in the diagonal line. Now, it's very important, those exercises that we were doing just a while ago, that you get the arm out. This is done from out of distance. I don't want you close enough to be able to hit your partner in either the body or the hand, right? And the blades intersect on this center line. So all the stuff that we've done up to this point is very important that you have this in your vocabulary, because this is where we're going to start to combine it all. Distance, drawing through, supporting with the lower body. It's not about the arm and the blade, it's about reaching forward and twisting through, like so. That same 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock that they've been working with, okay? Bob, would you come in, please? First thing is to set your distance. This is our normal out of distance position. This is the position we're working from. This would be like an engagement position here. So here we are, center of the blade. Our normal attack position is up here, the middle of the top half. Same for both of us. It's not about peri-riposte right now, where he would be back here, absorbing the energy of my attack. Right now, we are both attacking here on this center line. What I'd like you to start with is a squared position, extend, aim with the hand, so we're going to keep the tips up. So you'll notice that the tips are above our heads, okay? I'm not in here, I'm here like this, so they're slightly higher. We touch, and we each turn to 10 o'clock. We're done. Extend, make contact on the center line. Again, hand down, which automatically puts the tip up, and turn to 2 o'clock. In the upward diagonal, we're extending. The blades meet in the center line, and we twist to 10 o'clock. Extend, the blades meet in the center line, and we twist to 2 o'clock. Now, what's difficult is to do this with flow. So the important thing to think of is I am extending and trying to meet in the middle. It is not two moving targets like this. Bob, let's do it the wrong way. I mean, it's very spooky, for one thing. It's very hard to get my partner's rhythm, and it's pretty darn hazardous. Instead, think in terms of reach and draw, reach and draw, reach and draw, reach and draw. And you put body into that, and all of a sudden, this can start to look pretty dangerous, okay? But what we are doing is focusing on meeting in the center and drawing through, reaching and drawing through. And we're telling the story in our lower body, not in our arms, okay? So one more time, ready? And we'll start from out of distance, and downward, downward, upward, upward, like so, all right? This works particularly nicely as a condiment or a seasoning in a piece of choreography. For example, let's do that piece. From here, as this is our normal piece, he binds me over, I duck and draw, draw, duck, and come back, okay? More of that later. But for right now, meet in the center, touch, turn the body, 10 o'clock. Extend the arm, touch, turn the body, 2 o'clock. Palm up, extend, turn 10, extend, turn 2. Give it a try, draw cuts on the diagonal. Take your time with this. Don't rush ahead. Make sure you've got the material up to this point before you go on, because you really need to have a thorough understanding and have in your body all of the stuff that we've done up to this point before you move on. All right? Very, very important, because our next piece, we're moving into a zone that's a little bit more hazardous, okay? So you really need to have these layers of hidden safety protocol, of distance, of timing, of specific and accurate targeting, and of fingertip control of the blade at all times. All right, now I'd like to work on the diagonal the way we've been working on the perpendiculars. In other words, instead of cutting through, we're going to do the same X in 4 that we were doing here, where we're coming off each cut and moulinading or half circling around each time, all right? Same thing here in the diagonal line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 4 parry and I'm going to turn it into a slight 45-degree diagonal with my body behind my arms and underneath this, so that there's nothing in line with the incoming blade. Now the blade is not going to pass through, it's going to come off and go to my next line, which this would be the horizontal. The diagonal is now a little bit more like this. Same thing here, my 7 parry instead of being vertical is going to be diagonal, and my 3 parry instead of being vertical is going to be slightly diagonal. But this is where this other footwork comes in very handy, the reverse footwork, the absorbing in the rear foot with the leg retracting, because if I'm here and something happens, that cut's going to come right down and hit me in the knee. So make sure your entire body is behind your arm, behind your elbow, behind your hand, your legs absorbing and out of the way. All right? Dave, if you would. So, reviewing, X and 4 in the perpendicular is high, low, low, high, with our head-head transition. Same thing here now, okay? I'm going to have Dave begin, and he's going to come down on the diagonal now. So instead of vertical and horizontal, we're going to move into the diagonal. So I'm going to do my 4 parry, but notice how I move my body. And instead of cutting through, Dave is going to come off of it and come in from the other side. So now it's going to be an upward diagonal. And same thing here in the low line, upward diagonal, and here, downward diagonal. I'm going to cut his head. This will be back to our perpendiculars for now. And now it'll be my turn, X and 4. I'm going to aim with the hand and deliver with the feet. I'm going to aim with the hand and deliver with the feet in that upward diagonal. Aim with the hand, deliver with the feet, and aim with the hand and turn. Dave comes to me, head and head. Now, it's important we are not doing this. I'm going to draw through. Ready? I'm not going draw through, draw through, draw through, draw through. Very hazardous. All right? I don't recommend that at all, and certainly not until you have raised your level of ability and you trust the partner you're working with. For right now, keep this, make sure everything is behind this. We are coming off of it just like our X and 4. So aim, turn the body. Aim, turn the body. Aim, turn the body. Aim, turn the body. Head, head, make sure on the defense, be well behind this. Here, 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 and so on. If he does pull through, go ahead. I'm not there, okay? I am back and out of the way with my skeletal alignment in place. I come to his head, he comes to mine, all right? Be careful with this one, all right? This is a choice of up to you. If you wish to move into this, the draw cuts are fine because they're done from out of distance. Here you're in our regular distance. If you're a little bit off, there's a bit more hazard here. So you've really got to earn this one. It's your choice. If you're going to do it, make sure the safety protocols are all in place. Pay attention, work slowly. Speed is not what it's about right now. Anybody can go fast. What's important is that you be sensitive to your partner's energy and your distance, and these cuts be specific, okay? This is a storytelling tool. It only works if you make specific choices and you can execute those choices. Give it a try on the diagonal, X and 4. Up to this point, everything we've been doing has been a block. We've been creating that wall of steel and hiding our body behind it and trying to give the illusion of absorbing with the rear leg. I'd like to introduce you to the seating or yielding parry. So I want to keep the same good parry position where your body is under and behind your parry, but as contact is made, I am going to move the body over and allow the parry to collapse, but so that the blade runs along and gives me a nice sliding glissé sound. But I am going to start from a good parry and then move the body before allowing the blade to collapse. So think in terms of the blade stays, the body goes. Bob, if you would. We have been working with good solid parries, so we'll trade head cuts, head cut, head cut, head cut, head cut, whether you're working with in 5 or 6, whichever parry. Still utilize all that footwork, very important. This time, however, when Bob comes to me, I'm going to parry 5, and as I feel the contact, I'm going to shift over 45 degrees and move that back foot out of the way as his blade comes off. Same thing when I go to Bob. He's going to feel the contact, so he's under and behind that, and as I press and give the illusion of he's allowing me to go where I want to go, so there's a loss of balance. He now has an opportunity. I have to get out of there, and this collapses as I move my body. Same thing with Bob here, and as I insist, he's gone, which opens up an opportunity on the vulnerability for me. All right, you understand? Very important. Blade stays, good solid parry position. As you feel contact, allow this to collapse, but only after you've moved the body. Now, it's very important that you move the body, because if you stay here and let this collapse, there's a good chance you're going to get tagged, okay? Which is why I don't like to do this on the fly, of this, 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 okay? You have, again, two moving targets. Much better for one of the targets to be relatively stationary and in a good position and then move this. It helps elongate the moment, and it builds in that extra safety factor. Let's look at it one last time. The blade stays. The body moves. 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 Once on the angle, Bob, if you would. Notice how Bob moves after contact. Same thing, after contact, here, after contact, after contact, all right? It's a timing thing, the two of you working together. You still need that fingertip control. Don't come crashing into your partner with combat energy. Keep it specific, keep it safe, keep those legs moving. Give it a try, the yielding or ceding parry. Again, everything we've been doing up to this point have been blocks, right? Good, solid parries. For example, the X in 4 has been high, low, low, high, with our head hit. All right? We've just added ceding parries. I'd like you to take another look at something. This is called deflection or passing of the energy coming in. So instead on this 4, instead of meeting and absorbing it, what I'm going to do is, as it comes in, I'm going to pass it. Same thing here. As this comes in, I'm going to pass it. As this low one comes in, I'm going to pass it. As this high one comes in, I'm going to pass it. And then we would exchange with our ceding parries of leave the blade, move the body, leave the blade, move the body. All right? It's a different look. Now, if you are swatting at something that's coming at you, in other words, there are two moving targets, this is both hazardous and your likelihood of success is pretty slim, okay? To up the ability of you to use these elements to tell your story and also to build in our, as always, our extra safety value, what I want to do is, if I'm going to pass this, I'm going to parry 4 and pass it through 2. So I'm in a parry position throughout this. I'm going to go 4 and move my legs as this passes through 2. And at the same time, I give my hand a little squeeze so that Bob can play being moved out, as opposed to, I'm going to give you real energy, Bob, as opposed to that, okay? That's an unfair energy, okay? It's real. So all of these techniques are real. They're possible, but you don't want to have to deal with that, because that literally does pull you off balance. Instead, you want to tell the story of being thrown off balance, all right? And I want the additional safety factor of being in a parry position throughout. Okay, when he comes to the low line here, I'm going to go here and go 2 through 6 to 4. This one down here, I'm going to go 7 through 5 to 3. On the final one, I'm going to go 3 through 7. Okay? The two high ones are much easier. Let's start with the high. So 4, catch it in 4, move the legs, pass to 2. Catch it in 3, move the legs, pass to 7. All right? Do you see what's happening? With a little bit of speed, it becomes here, catch, pass, and catch, pass. And you see the feet moving. Feet are essential. Feet are essential to tell the story. Feet are essential to keep your body safe. So let's start with this. Think in terms of 4. As contact is made, and Bob is going to help me with this. This is the concept of cooperative energy. Combative energy is, I've got to time this and swat it out of the way, and he has to try and survive this. Cooperative energy, both of us telling our half of the story is, as I'm meeting this, I move and roll and deflect this energy. Same thing here coming in high. 3, meet it, move out of the way, keep it going. So I'm allowing it to go where it wants to go and helping a little bit too. So our exercise will be parry 4, maintain contact, pass through, parry 3, maintain contact, pass through. I will feed Bob. 4, pass through, 3, pass through. And notice, let me do it again. 4, pass through, 3, pass through. You come and get me, Bob. And 4, pass, 3, pass. Once more. 3, pass, and don't go too far back. 4, pass. Okay? The two of us are now dancing together. There is a genuine cause and effect relationship going on because we're sensitive to each other's energy and we're using a nice cooperative energy to help tell that story. Stay just in the high line and be aware of going from 4, switching your feet as you parry 2, parrying 3, switching your feet out of the way as you parry 7. Give that a try. Okay, you got your feet moving and the whole thing's happening. Let's take another look at the head parry. We had our seating parries of the blade stays, the body moves. Now let's come back into the arena of deflections and take a look how to do this one safely. If I'm going to parry 5, instead of allowing this to collapse and move the body, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deflect. I'm going to step in the opposite direction and move him over here. So I'm going to take the 5 parry and drop to the 3 parry and give him a little squeeze to cue him. Same thing with the 6. I'm going to go from the 6 to the 4. Okay? The difference between this one, in the seating parry, I move and allow him to go here. In the deflection, I move him specifically myself. Okay? It gives the illusion, give me 2 cuts to the head, it gives the illusion of this. However, I find it really hazardous to stand in the middle. Go ahead. I'm out of day. If I stand in the middle and I miss him, okay, there's a good, he's going to hit me. So I want to make sure I've picked this up just in case he's too close or I'm too close. I still have a good parry and I'm moving through a parry position here. What you don't want to do is this and go across his face or drag his blade through my face like this. So you still have all of the safety protocol we've had, which is you're under and behind this. As your body moves to 45 degrees, you maintain contact and squeeze him from the number 3 parry position. Same thing here. In 6, squeeze to number 4. All right? Last parry that we did, we looked at it very quickly. We'd gone from the 4 down to the 2, deflect the 3 to the 7. Another one you use quite a bit is parry 2 and bind this up. Now notice how I lift both blades above my head so the tips are up, and then I drop to the 4 to release him here. So again, here, don't do this. Don't force this and do energy, and you notice both of us are probably going to get decapitated. Instead, from here, lift up through the 6 and drop down to the 4. Or from here, 5, right here, and, well, we just did that. We just passed through there, okay? So I'm maintaining contact with the blade. I'm working through all of the lines. Let's start with 4. So 4, and pass it through. 3, and pass it through. 2, lift it up through 6, and down to 4. If he cuts my 5, I parry 5 and angle and drop it, and 6, parry, angle, and drop it. The one I don't recommend too much is 7 through to 3, because the tendency is to get in a big hurry and do this, okay? So it's real important if you are going to do that when you still lift this one up to 5 before you drop it down to 3. So your exercise, your homework to start with is parry 5, step 45 degrees, drop your hand to a good 3 parry. Notice I'm still not in range. Go ahead. He can't hit me, okay? Same thing here. Parry 6. Step 45 degrees inside and drop to 4. And use that nice squeeze of the hand to cue him. All right? Then from there you can add that low line parry of 2 through 6 to 4, or possibly even 7 through 5 to 3. These are the deflections. All right? It's done with a cooperative energy. It's you and your partner working together. Your feet have got to move to keep you out of distance, and you are working on the angles. All right? It's a mixture of everything we've learned so far. If you're having trouble, go back. Simplify. Take something out. Go back a couple of lessons. Make sure you've got this under your belt. This isn't easy. This is upper level stuff. Be good to yourself. Practice a little bit. Go. Well, now that your feet are moving, we can start to discuss avoids. Avoids are where you don't parry with the blade at all. You just get the heck out of the way. They're difficult to make work because they require absolutely perfect timing between you and your partner. However, all the exercises we've done up to this point are reinforcing that sense of timing. It's very important that you have a common rhythm that you then add your own individual character rhythm on top of. But you have to have a common rhythm first so the two of you are both dancing to the same orchestra. All right? With an avoid, for example, if my partner is doing diagonal X's down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift and make my body take up that line that I'm supposedly avoiding. So if that X is coming in, I will bob down, weave out, and shift and turn my body into half of the X. Same thing over here, bob down, weave out, and turn my body. I like to add a little step in there just to make sure I get out of the way, because sometimes my partner gets very excited and comes all the way down through and cuts all the way to the floor where my foot still is, okay? So don't just lean, step and lean, step and lean. The other nice one to avoid are verticals. If you start square, move your foot out of the way and turn and face it, it looks like it's just missed you. Later on, we'll add a hand to this and it'll set up some nifty disarms, but let's start with this very slow, all right? If I'm working, Bob, thank you. If I'm working with Bob and I'm going to do a downward diagonal like so, one of the things that helps us cue is I will step left, he will step left, and he'll move out of the way. I will step right, he will step right. Same thing going upward. I will step left, he will step left, I will step right, he will step right. Now, we are just out of distance. It's not necessary to work this close enough to actually be able to hit him. It's actually pretty hazardous. Camera has no depth, so it's easy for us to adjust, work out a distance, especially when you're first starting, because it's important the two of you start here. Let's work on this line. So we're splitting this line. I will step. I'll shift here like this to let him know, and as I step, he steps, and we take the feet with us. Now the weight's in here, so I'm going to drive off this foot, but I'm going to step to cue him here. Weight's on the rear foot, drive on the rear foot, upward diagonal, vertical, face camera, vertical here, or up vertical here, all right? That can be very, very effective. What's important is that I cue my partner so he knows what I'm doing. Bob will do the same thing for me. So from here, and step right, good, and he steps left, I step left, he steps right, I step right, he goes vertical, I go here, he comes up the front, whoa. See, now I just moved into distance because I trust Bob. But you get the idea. These are avoids. Cue your partner. It is a dance move. It's a sensitivity to energy and to distance. Right? Give that a try. Start with the X's. Very slow. Make sure the two of you are working together. And that same pivoting and twisting and pointing the rear foot so the whole body tells the story really makes this work. Avoids. Okay, I've got a katana for a change. Another form of broadsword. There are very distinct stylings with the katana, of course, but all the things that we've been working with work very nicely with this weapon. I'd like to try combining avoids and binds. So putting the two together, working very slowly. Again, be aware of your distance, be sensitive to your partner's energy, and always it's body first, arms, and the last thing is the blade with your fingertip control. This really articulates your story. It extends the moment so the audience can follow it, and it keeps your partner safe. Don't be in a big hurry. I was going to say something else, but don't be in a big hurry to whip that blade through. That's not the important part of the story. It's your body. This is just the final exclamation point, okay? Let's give that a try. So, let's go from our 4, passing through here. Now, right here is where I'm going to step left and do my diagonal X cut down, all right? If I'm in my 3, okay, I'm going to pass here like this, and then as I cue him, I will step and he will step. So it's just putting the 2 together. If I'm doing the low line here, I will pass this up and around, get eye contact, step, and he will step. Same thing here. Low line, eye contact, which is a very powerful moment, step and step. Now, we are building acting beats into the choreography. Makes it good for camera, makes it very good for stage. We're not in a big hurry to throw the blade. What I want to have is this moment here. Let's go to the 4 again. From my 4 here, I'm watching him, and here. Now I'm open. He's going to come to me. I'm going to catch this and pass and here like so. Okay? What happens in the middle with the body is what's important and what makes it interesting. And it slows it down enough for the audience to see it happen. So we're combining the elements that we've put together. Let's start with the high line. So high line, pass, center, step, cue. Same thing here. Pass, center it. As I step, he steps, and we go together. This time, I will cue you, low line. Boom. Pass. Here we are here. I will actually offer him that before moving out of the way. Low line. Boom. Up, center, whoa, and move. Same thing happens here with the head cuts. Here, pass, down through center, woof, and I go to him, catch, pass, up, go ahead, woo, here like so, all right? This is also a lot of fun to work with your partner and evolve choreography because you've now slowed down, the 2 of you are working together, your bodies are matching each other, so you're getting this nice cause and effect relationship, and you will start to see things that when you're just trying to figure it out on paper, you don't see. You start to be sensitive to the energy and to the story possibilities and the places where you can begin an action and then suddenly reverse it on itself. And that's where things get interesting, all right? Take it slow. Remember to go back first to get your avoids. Be sure it cues first, and you're very specific on this, and it's body first and blade last. Go back over your binds. Remember, it's a cooperative energy. By the way, a bind, let me give it to you in 4. A bind can only be done from a long arm. The actual timing combatively is as I'm coming forward, he's catching that energy and deflecting it while I'm still coming forward. The way to defeat a bind is to bend the arm, okay? That's the escape. That's also the way to screw up what the story your partner's trying to tell. If in the middle of this, I back out of it, he doesn't have me anymore. So this is where your cooperative energy comes in. I extend here, I maintain that so he has it. He comes to me, he gives me that so that it blurs that line between who is still attacking and then it's getting deflected. I was going to go one more. Okay? So, but we're working together. Anything is possible. Give that a try. Take your time. Practice. The illusion of the kill using the thrust or the point of the weapon. Again, we want to build in an additional safety factor. In Rapier for the Stage and Screen, we talked about thrusts to the outside, or the flank side, if you will. Palm is down. That automatically moves the tip of the blade. I'm able to thrust and extend the arm forward, really work the body, and the tip is always ever so slightly offline. Same thing for thrusts to the inside. If my palm is up, my arm can still come forward as opposed to something artificial, so the audience sees this or this, but the tip is slightly offline. So you can choose your angle to make it most effective, but you built in an automatic safety factor as opposed to crossing through center to get to the zone of safety. You are already lined up, coming down the center line with the tip removed. Dave, could I have you for a moment? From here, if I were avoiding and thrusting, like so, I get the twist of the body, I extend with the arm, boom. Now, I don't want to come from a long distance away. Again, it's a small movement with the tip, so I aim with the hands and I deliver with the body. Now, from here, there is that acting moment and release out, because this is an edged weapon. Same thing from the other side. I'm going to work with the outside, so as this is coming, this one's a little more difficult, all right? But I'm still using as much of the body as possible, and I'm keeping the tip offline. We share that moment, and however I peel this out and get rid of him, or whatever our final moment of that story happens to be, is up to us. What's very nice is you have frantic movement that suddenly stops and pulls focus, and it's a very quiet, personal moment between the two of us, and then that's released. So you can really control the audience, the story you tell to your audience, be it live stage or be it on film. Very, very powerful. Of course, on film, boom, they'll come in and catch the eyes and really personalize it. But that's the safety factor. Again, you want to utilize as much of the body as possible, whether I do one hand or two and pull out. Same thing on the opposite side if we could. I'm going to start from here, and notice how this stays and I use the body, or from here and that moment and release. Kills with the point. Build in the extra safety factor of alignment and use the body to deliver it. Aim with the hand, deliver with the body. Give it a try. Let's take another look at our kills. I want you to focus on, this is the climactic moment to the conflict that's been going on throughout the story. This is a real storytelling moment. It's also, I want you to think in terms of, it's an interruption of the energy. The energy that's been flowing, trading back and forth, who's winning, who's losing, who's ahead, who reverses, and there's an element of surprise. It should be abrupt, right in the middle of the action. Just as you think it's about to continue, bam, everything stops. And you have that exchange between the two characters. Dave, if you would, please. So starting from here, I'm going to begin with a parry. That's a block. And as he rechambers to go again, I suddenly move. There's that avoid to the side and stop. Moment, release. And then the moment after. Remember, in terms, all action is the moment before, the action, the reaction, and then the moment after. Each one of those is a storytelling beat, a device, something to really be taken advantage of. Okay, let's put that together again. So here is the block, the offer as he rechambers. So there's the fake and the move, the kill, and the release. Now I can also do this as a pass-through. Here we've been having the moment once more. Here we're having the moment happen right there. We're having the moment happen before and the release coming afterwards. We can have the moment happen after as I catch the first one and I pass through, and then the moment happens. All right? Two choices. Let's take a look at that on the other side. From here, catch it in 5. I like to offer, which also places the blade. So the blade stays and I move. Now as it happens right now, we're working with steel. Much more hazardous, but the safety protocol's in place, so we're just fine. Once more, catch it in the block, offer it, move, and release, or the slash through, which is the catch and then the moment as he collapses, and then whatever I want to do with that, putting the sword away or whatever story I want to tell. The choices are up to you. The art is in the choices you make. The same choices that you go through when you're constructing your character for your verbal dialogue should happen in your action dialogue. All right? Give that a try and think about those storytelling possibilities. Let's start thinking about what the other hand is doing. We've been working one-handed, we've been working two hands on the sword. We have our different distances. We have long range, we have medium range, and we have close range. Long range, first we start out of range. When you move into range, which is where we've been doing all our blade work, right, that's our long range distance. If I move in close enough to be able to utilize the second hand, that's an intermediate range where I can deflect with this hand, or I can get into disarms, and then close range is, of course, grappling, where I'm going to tie up and subdue, all right? Let's simplify this. Coming back to our center line, all right? Mary, if you would. If Mary starts by throwing punches, good, I'm going to catch on the center line. And she throws the left. I catch on the center line. Or I can pass and go to the outside. Same thing with each hand. I can use different hands. I can use opposite hand, or I can use one hand, the other hand. Doesn't matter. The idea is I'm moving to the outside, which takes me away from her other weapon, all right? I can also work the inside. Inside, inside, or throw it again, inside, inside. You understand? Now, if I find myself, throw the right hand, if I find myself on the inside, I don't have to stay there. I can move to the outside, like so. That's by passing under. Once again, catch it, pass from above, get to the outside. This is perfect for a disarm. I can also move from below, like so, to get to the outside. If I'm on the outside and I don't want to be there, I can come back to the inside. So it's really up to your imagination if you simply simplify the whole concept of, are you inside or are you outside? You don't want to stay there, change your mind, okay, by either going from above, like so, or from below, like so. And it's very nice because it just kind of goes right into your hand. Let's try the same idea with a weapon. So, combatively, if Mary was throwing this at me, I would want to get her attention by striking, which is going to startle her long enough for me to work on this hand and take the weapon away. For our purposes, what I'll do is a shoulder stop. Now again, combative energy would be pow, and I'd really startle her. Be sensitive to your partner. Simply put this up, allow her to play that, the stagger. Now, from here, if I go from above, taking the hand, this peels out very nicely. It's now mine. Whack, okay? We can take the same idea inside, and instead of passing from above, I can pass from below and move to the outside. Pick up the hand. Now what's in her hand is mine. Understand? Moving from inside to outside. What we talked about before, let me have you start on this side if you would, of bending the wrist, this is a perfect opportunity for this. This time, I'm going to move to the outside. Isolate this wrist. This is now mine, okay? One of my favorites is to go to the outside, so face it. There's our avoid. Come back, whack in the face, okay? This obviously isn't the angle to see this from, but you see the safety that we're putting into this. I switch hands, take the weapon. Another alternative is here. Move to the outside, bring it down, smack her in the knee with her own weapon, switch hands, and you cue the release by squeezing and saying, I have it, okay? First disarm. Let's take a look at these same ideas with the blade. Now remember, I'm using this center line and I'm angling inside or outside the center line, utilizing that triangle footwork that we discussed earlier. Everything we do builds on what came before. Bob, if you would. Here we are in center. My first move is to step to the side and put a little stop on him. Again, combatively here, theatrically go to the shoulder, and don't overdo it. Allow him to play the reaction. Don't really give it to him, okay? I now have the hand. By turning this up and moving to the outside, I have superior position, and I can cue him very nicely to come in here for this or that or whatever we like. Once more, let's take another look at it. So step, stop, turn the palm up, move to the outside so I'm away from the other thing. This gives him something to play, and then I can decide whether we're going to talk about it or whether I'm just going to outright do away with it, depending on the story you're telling, okay? Now, from here, same first move, inside, go from below, move to the outside, okay? And as I made this switch, here, first with the hand, come from below, duck underneath, pop, and slide the hand down to the hand. I'm not trying to catch his hand. It's very hard to catch a moving target. What I am doing is I'm stopping the target so that I can maintain contact with it. Watch it again. Stop it, come up and around, and slide down. Now right here I've come up with yet another disarm because I got inside his handle. Let's do the simpler one first. Catch, come from below, slide down, pick up the wrist so that he knows when. If we wanted to, we could come back and hit, or we could come down here and hit, or I could simply take it like so. All right, a nice, easy exchange and very fluid conversation between our two bodies. Let's try this with a sword. One is like this. I pick this up here, I move to the outside, I strike the hand, or I strike the hand, and this will release this. He'd drop it for me. Let's go, if we start on the outside, simple three parry. Roll it over, cue the thumb, and pound it out of his hand. All right? Let's take a look at a number one parry. Again, angling inside. I pick up the hand. All right, this, when I have his thumb, I really do have control over him. All right, once more. But for our purposes, what this does is it makes it a nice, easy pass. I come up here, perhaps a pop in the face, using my forearm for safety as opposed to the pommel itself. But here, boom, if we return this slightly, this would work quite nicely for you. Let's do that again. And catch, boom. Okay, that's going to read quite nicely. And from here, a simple cue to strip down, and I now have two weapons to do with what I will. All right, let's come back to this again, Bob. Another one from 4. All right, here I can switch to the outside and use the pommel the same way I used my hand. Do you remember in the unarmed section, I went here and I reached from below and inserted my hand to take this? Same thing's happening here. I'm catching it in 4, stopping it, switching to the outside, using the pommel, and be gentle with this to make the exchange, and this gives me now 2 swords. All right? Think of these on your own. If you can be logical and you can be safe, you can pretty much do whatever your imagination can come up with. Give it a try. Disarms. In our previous video, Rapier for the Stage and Screen, we talked a lot about eye contact. Eye contact lets your partner know that you're ready. It is also this constant dialogue between the two characters. You hear the eyes of the mirror to the soul. They are also our strongest storytelling device. So the idea of your having your eyes down here or your eyes somewhere over here, you really are missing an opportunity to maximize the power of the story that you're telling. Also, this tells my partner, yes, I'm ready, let's go. But sometimes you're not going to have that. Sometimes something's going to happen from behind, what we call a blind kill, or you're going to need to find another way to cue. I favor vocalizing for 2 reasons. One, it reminds you to breathe. You'd be surprised. You get all excited doing a cool piece of choreography, and you forget to breathe. Utilizing the voice not only keeps the story going and keeps you oxygenated, but it also will cue your partner. All right? Dave, if you would. So very slowly first, catch. Good. He rechambers here. Now I'm going to move behind him. He can't see me, so I'm going to let him know when the stroke's coming by vocalizing. Ha! And we still have our powerful story moment. All right? So throughout all of this, I've started with eyes, 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 and voice. Ha! So that he can time his reaction to make this sell without my having to make any contact. All right? So don't forget the power, thank you, Dave, of the vocalization. This is the section that my partner Bob Chapin likes to refer to as the cool move section. In other words, what is it that you've discovered as you're working with the weapon that you feel says something a little special about your character? Remember, your art is in your choices. Very often what differentiates just pretty pedestrian choreography from something that's really unique and special is what you have brought to it. This is a katana. Just examining it will give you some inspiration. The nature of this weapon is it has a long handle, which gives you a very nice pivoting point here. The back edge isn't sharp, so you are able to do certain things with the supporting arm that you can't do with a two-edged broadsword. Also, the way the weapon is carried is it's carried edge up. So initially, as you pop this out, this first draw is an attack. This is part of the fast draw school or Iaido school of working with the katana. And then, of course, there's always the cool return, okay? Or you can work it in an inversion and return it that way. Nifty things. Spend a little time with your prop. It'll give you some ideas, and you can bring something special to what you're doing. Let's take a look at what the boys have come up with. Bob?
So anyway, the one-handed bloom goes something like this. All right? And you try to put a second hand into it, and timing becomes a problem.
But gone slow, it's up, up, around, and down like this. You notice how this wraps around the body here like so? Because if Bob is behind me and he suddenly moves, I don't have time to turn, but I can do this and swing it around my body. So that this is going to go like that. So that's the application of that. Pretty cool move.
One of my favorites. The sword pickup. So here's the single. And it's a standard juggler pickup. And there's the double. Step on the handle, kick it in, step over, and pick it up behind you.
Reversing the hand is really very simple. Just let it roll between those two fingers, and then you've got it reversed. Blocks can be done here, forearm blocks, overhead blocks, reverse thrust.
You can also manipulate that blade that way too, can't you?
Yep.
Pick it up here like this. Uh-oh, boom.
We've got the cut. It also builds in a certain safety feature by having this against your forearm. Your tip is never very close to your partner as you pass through. You can pass through, then release here, makes the move look very large, when in fact you're quite a good distance away and you've got a lot of control.
One of the nice elements of this too, because it is reversed, you don't have quite as much control over it. So it's kind of nice to take and make this part of your forearm. So for example, if Dave is cutting me here and I'm going to come over the top here like this, I don't want this flying free. But when it's part of my forearm, it's now part of my body, and I have much better control over it.
Where it comes in for a head cut. Boom. And it's not a bladed technique by any means, but it's pretty cool. I'm coming in, slicing, and disarming at the same time.
I'd like to see that again. Ed?
Well, rewind the tape.
Whoa.
And of course, a little too close for comfort here. Probably back it off for film.
Yeah. Again, different sword. This one happens to be a steel single-handed broadsword. You'll notice it has the simple quillons. It's a little heavier, so if I'm going to manipulate this, I've got to get the balance of the sword working in my hand. I've got this nice big pommel, which is very useful for strikes. This should flow. This can be fun. I also like to figure out ways to, stand, because a lot of times you end up standing with your sword here, figuring out cool ways for it just to look like you know what you're doing, but it's not really a problem. Okay, this again should flow nicely. And again, working with, it doesn't have to be an aluminum sword. All of this is possible also working in steel.
Actors like Val Kilmer, if you've seen Willow, and
Willow.
I'm sure you have, he's an actor who will take a prop and really work with it. And he does this one spin, which is a reverse catch into a forward hand grip. And I just sort of played around with that, and I've got one.
Am I far enough away?
No.
Okay, take it away.
Behind the back to here. And you can also reverse that into a forehand catch here. You can also reverse this into sort of a backward move and throw it and catch it prepared.
Spend a little time with the weapon. See how it feels in your hand. Work it a little bit. When you make this pass, put it in your hand like this. It's really not too difficult. Just it should be smooth, it should flow, and it should be supported by the whole body. All right? Spend a little time with it. You'll be glad you did.
Don't worry, I'm not finished yet.
We're out of time. Shania. Shania. Oh, well, here. Play amongst yourselves. What? Wood. Shania. Another hanger. Steel. No. Okay. Now. Well, if you're not going to even bring it close. We'll be using a great deal of the same vocabulary, with adjustments, of course, to accommodate the slight, the greater weight and length and height and breadth from sea to shining sea of the broadsword. Welcome to Broadsword for the Stage and Screen, the DeLongis method. I've had a lifetime love affair. Lifetime love affair? That's the third time I've said that. I've had a lifetime love affair. Jesus, Christmas. Once more. I've had a lifetime love affair with the sword. Yay!